A government shutdown looming as Congress battles over a spending bill. President-elect Donald Trump urging Republicans to reject that bill. A measure put forth by House Speaker Mike Johnson would have funded the government through mid-March. That measure included disaster aid, healthcare policy extensions, and a pay raise for lawmakers. But Trump pushing for a streamlined spending bill and called for the abolishing of the debt ceiling in a phone interview with NBC this morning. Joining us now with more, we've got Brian Gardner, Stifel's Chief Washington Policy Strategist. Brian, great to have you here. So in your notes, you said you still think the odds of a shutdown are low. Do you still feel that way?
Yeah, kind of tacking on to Brian Sozzi's interview with Vlad, I think we can, put up something where, betting on Robinhood, whether the government's going to shut down and whether the debt ceiling is going to go away. I think the odds of a shutdown are still relatively low. It doesn't look good right now because there's dysfunction, there's disagreement, a deal has fallen apart, and so it's tough to see the end game. I think what will happen over the next couple of days, probably getting us into early 25, is a series of short-term extensions without an actual shutdown. So, yeah, it doesn't look great right now, but I think a shutdown is not my base case scenario. Government remaining open is.
Brian, why are you confident that we will reach some sort of extension?
Because no one wants a shutdown. There's a lot of disagreement up on the Hill about what the pathway forward is. But going into the holidays, no one wants the optics of shutting down the government. And there will be people out there who say it's not a big deal. And I would say for markets, it's not a big deal. We can get into that separately. But it's not a big deal for the country. We can get through it. It doesn't impact the economy. We're going into the holidays where there are going to be federal workers, and those include troops, who don't get paid for a couple weeks. And so the optics of a young Marine Corps enlisted man or woman who has, a spouse and kids and having trouble paying bills at the holidays is just a very bad optic for Washington. So I think the default will be keep the negotiations going. If they have to extend government spending for a week, they'll do it. They'll just keep kicking the can down the road until they eventually can get to a deal that lasts a longer period of time, whether that's March, whether it's even longer into the fiscal year.
What is the nature of the conversation from the likes of President-elect Trump, but also Elon Musk on X telling people to call their representatives? What does that tell you about the dynamic that voters can expect to see and investors can expect to see in the 4 years ahead in this Trump administration?
We have been through efforts in the past to reduce government spending, to make government more efficient. The Reagan administration did it. The Clinton administration did it. But those efforts occurred in an era pre-social media, pre-internet. And I think with the Doge, what you have is two individuals who are very charismatic, very present on social media, and are able to drive the conversation nationally. Facts don't always play into the calculus. I mean, there were some misrepresentations about the substance of the bill that's not going to pass, but that's secondary. It drives the conversation, and so lawmakers are going to have to be very careful to avoid potential landmines.